Missing Mr. Kerr, and that's an excused absence. Otherwise, we have a quorum. Beginning, as we always do beyond that, approval of the minutes of our last meeting. Members of the commission, we've all had a chance to review those minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Any further discussion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We have two old items of business today. I'm actually going to exercise the authority of the chair to rearrange those. The second item, the second listed item of business is the request of Gregory and Marcia Moya at 20 West Fountain for a new single-family home. David, I understand we received an email from the Moyas, the applicants, requesting that this application be deferred until the October meeting, October 7th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I do not see the applicant in attendance. I see some of the neighbors, but I will accept the request of the applicant. Actually, we'll have to have a motion because our 90-day time limit to act, or 45-day limit, which one is it? 45, isn't it?
45.
Will have expired before we meet again. So I would ask for a motion to accept the request to defer till the next meeting, and then suggest that it be put on the agenda for next month as well.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion second. Any discussion on that motion, members of the commission? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, well, you are welcome to stay. We will not be discussing this item at all tonight. I'm sorry?
Is there any reason why we can't go ahead and speak?
Well, yes, for a number of reasons. Number one, we just deferred action, and number two.
No one asked
Well,
whether,
okay. Well, number two, the applicant is not here to address anything you have to say. So you'd have to repeat it the next time so they could address anything you would have to say. Number three, we have nothing to review. They've not submitted anything new to us. So there's really nothing to discuss. So I appreciate y'all coming out, but it would be a wasted effort on everybody's part to talk today and then have to re-say it again. And whatever you say or intend to say today may be different. The plans may change between now and October.
I think in some, I would guess, I would bet, I know what I was going to share has something to do with putting anything in that property because it has to do with the rhythm. It violates, I want to show how it violates the rhythm of West Fountain.
Well,
And so even a bit of any building is going to
That's like
violate
saying we're not gonna have
that
any.
rhythm. So I don't know how they're going to speak to that because it's just a fact.
well, they can't speak to it because they're not here to hear what you have to say. I mean, whatever arguments, whatever presentation you have on that point will certainly be valid.
Oh, of course,
Sounds like it would
of
be
course it
valid
will.
next month,
No,
so,
of course it will.
yeah.
Okay.
And they may come back with different plans that you might find acceptable. You never know. But I appreciate everybody coming out.
Can I just say something?
Sure. Oh, and one more last thing. Sir, what was your name for the record?
My name's Rob Weber.
Rob Weber.
40 West Fountain.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Sir,
one of
your
the
name and
neighbors.
then,
Paul Suka, 775 Congress. You're talking about that they're gonna change stuff. 2 years ago, you told them that this house was too big for the property. They were saying, well, the other houses are this large. Well, their lot is a third of the size of those other lots. They came back with a bigger house this time with the same. And so it's like, what's gonna happen again? It's just,
yeah, I don't know what's going to happen again. I don't know what plans they'll come back with. I was hoping that they would have something for all of us to review prior to this meeting, much less at this meeting. That didn't happen, so we were stuck without having something to talk about.
my point, they could come back with a bigger one, just.
Yeah, and we'll take that in stride, and you all can make a comment on that as well. Yeah.
The only question that I was gonna ask today is the Green Bible, is that the right nickname for it?
Guidebook.
Oh, right, the guidebook, seems to, or it does point out that only new houses can be a story and a half. I don't understand, my question was, why are we still talking about this house at 2.5 stories?
Well, number one, we don't know if we're still talking about the house that we saw last month. They could come back with something smaller, something lower. As far as the
That meets the guidelines of the book.
it could. We don't know.
The current house does not meet the guidelines of the book.
Well, the guidelines, remember, are just that, they're guidelines. They're not rules and regulations like the ordinances, they're guidelines. That's something we use, we really do rely on it, but there's certain circumstances where the guidelines may or may not be appropriate to apply. So what was your name again for the record?
Rochelle Dixon at 785 Congress.
Okay, very good, thanks.
Just real quickly, what, will we see plans then before this meeting?
I don't know, I'm not the applicant, I'm not their architect. We're standing in the same position as you are.
Okay.
We only can react to what they provide. So stay in my suggestion is stay in touch with David over the next 4 weeks until we meet again and ask once a week, twice a week, have you received anything? What's the status?
Okay, no, I just,
You know his number. Okay.
thank you.
One question, maybe to you, David, what's the requirement for submitting new plans for them to speak at that October 7th meeting? And if they miss that, will they be included from?
So the typical requirement is that the Monday prior to the meeting, applications have to be submitted. That deadline is flexible, if depending on the type of project, depending on the scope of the review that's required, because it does go through zoning review prior to coming to Planning Commission. But typically the deadline is that Monday before the meeting, so about a week before the meeting.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, did we vote?
Yeah.
All right, well, that item is passed to the October meeting. We'll look to see everyone here on that date. Same place, same time. All right, moving on, old business. We still have old business, request of Les Edwards, 68 Washington for a new single-family home. Good afternoon. Still
Good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to request a different design. I just got the numbers back from Clayton Homes last week, and the cost for delivery, installation, as well as the foundation, which is $71,000 right there, is more than a third of the cost. And so I still want you to approve it. What we're going to do is we're going to meet with Taylor Homes this Friday and see if we can get something equitable that includes a garage as well. If find out that they want far more than what we can afford, we may just opt not to do the full basement and do a crawl space instead, so that keeps us down in budget. But today, before I meet with Taylor on Friday, I gave David a flash drive of what we are looking at, and our biggest concern was that the length of the property is the new structure would be about 76 feet, and we only have a frontage about 73 feet, and so we would like to pivot it 90 degrees counterclockwise, which will give us a frontage of 54 feet. But one of the concerns is that I'm counting two parcels. I own the parcel west of where we're going to put the house on, and so we're including on the back of the house a mother-in-law suite, which will be 3 feet from the property line that I own at the back, but at the front it'll be about 12, and then I'll be about 15 on the east side of the property. And so I just wanted to see first the design, which should be also included. We will see if you're all okay if I do a counterclockwise 90 degrees and the distance from the west and east offset.
Are you gonna combine the two parcels?
I believe so. I hadn't thought about that. You know, the only concern with that is part of that parcel I didn't realize includes 72 Washington's garage and part of her front porch.
But that can be taken care of when you combine. You can cut that out and have that go with 72 Washington. That can all be done.
That's a lot. Well,
No, it's not that hard. It's Boggs did that. She took the part of her
Carved around
property, put it on the other one, all that stuff. It's,
Yeah.
But keep in mind, you have to maintain the setbacks for that house, that property as well.
Yes.
There's a house and a garage on the neighboring property?
Yes.
All right.
Like I said, it's, and I'm going by actually the garage, which is closest to my property. And so it would be from the garage, and I should say the driveway is, her driveway is what I'm creating the offset on. So where the garage is, the back of it will be 3 feet. There'll be about 3, and again, I'm estimating about 3 feet from garage to mother-in-law's suite.
I don't think that would be allowed.
David, the setbacks are your purview, right?
That's right, and so I understand that this has been to planning for more than a quarter of the year. I just received these revised plans about 10 minutes ago. So typically the process for approval is they come to me, I perform a zoning review, verify that all of the setbacks and other zoning code requirements are met, and then they're forwarded to Planning Commission. Obviously, I've not had a chance to do that zoning review. Planning's welcome to make whatever decision they like. However, I would not consider these plans forwarded to planning at this point because they've just now been submitted to me. We talked about the deadline a few minutes ago. I haven't had a chance to review the proposal to either consolidate the lot or build up to the lot line that Mr. Edwards is describing. That's going to take some time, and frankly, based on the proximity of everything here, likely it's going to require an actual a professional survey to verify all of the locations that are being drawn here. We typically don't require them in every instance, but given the proximity and the changes here,
Complexity.
and the complexity is a good word. Yes, we would require a survey, which is going to again push this in likely into October. I'll leave that between the applicant and the planning commission. But I simply need more time to do my zoning review responsibility.
There's no reason for us to go through our process if yours
That's
is
correct.
Correct. So I move we defer it until October.
I would
All right.
second that.
Now, just talk about the Southern Charm that you looked at last month.
Do you have something you can put up on the
Well,
screen?
am I putting up the old design or
Yeah, the old design.
the new
yes.
design? All right, 1 second.
As I recall, we already agreed that the house could be perpendicular to the street. We already agreed on that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a different design.
No, we already agreed to that.
This,
This.
we agreed that it could be perpendicular to the street.
Yeah, that the
Yeah.
short end could.
That it was closer to the way it was historically.
And I understood him to say that just now.
And-
he was rotating it back.
And I
A
think
new
you
house.
just needed to see
Okay,
a rendering.
let's stop. We have a confusion.
All right.
Are you returning it so that the long side faces the road? Or are you going to keep the short side
All right.
facing the road?
We're talking with Southern Charm. If we go back to the builder and say yes with a crawl space, we'll leave exactly how it was last month. But right now,
I can't follow last month, this month, because we've made so many changes.
all right,
So just
Would it be to the short side facing the road?
road.
short side facing the road.
Okay.
That's what you want to
Slide to
do.
that, isn't there?
Yes.
We said last time, as long as David was okay with the zoning, that we were okay with that.
Oh.
Did we vote? Did you vote?
I thought
there
we
was still some
deferred.
We didn't
Yeah,
vote
I
on that, but we said conceptually that was okay with us.
And I believe if I remember correctly, because I didn't have a picture of it included in the file, and you needed to see that because for the design purpose.
Yeah, and there was a concern about the
windows.
windows on the front.
And
Chimney.
And the rendering that you just showed us addressed that
Yes.
problem.
But
And I think it's
Plans.
actually gonna look better rotated with the short side to the street because of the other homes and it'll fit in much nicer.
I love that design.
the rendering does show that with the windows, but the plans following those do not show what we asked for. It shows the two picture windows, and I understand that it's above a sink, but
Yes.
still, your rendering shows it different.
Well, in any event, you're walking away from this design, correct?
I'm putting it on hold.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk to a different builder, because the biggest factor is the cost for this house. The other plan is exactly the same square footage with more accessibility, including a garage. And so when I meet with the other builder, if they tell me it's going to cost $20,000 or $30,000 more for their plan, we're going to ask that, because our biggest concern, I think, if you remember, is that we will not have a garage, and if we don't have a basement, we have nothing for storage. That's the main reason why we're considering walking away from that design.
And you've looked into a partial basement?
They will not do a partial basement.
Why?
I'm getting frustrated with Clayton, because one of the things I asked them last Wednesday when they gave me the spreadsheet, I said, "Can I see the subcontractors doing a foundation?" Because I had figured it should have been about $24, $27 per square foot, so about $45,000, and it was 65 plus. They wanted to add another 7 to level the lot and do a rough grading on it. And I was like, I need to see this, and I also wanted whatever they use to get this estimate so I can shop around. And that goes back why I'm going to Taylor, because when I talked to them back in April, they said we only build the house, and that you're going to have to take care of utilities, you're going to have to take care of your driveway, the sidewalk, any kind of landscape, and I wasn't interested in it. But it sounds like a lot of the builders are just wanting, I don't know, for cost or liability, saying that now we're putting this on the buyers to handle these features. So, unfortunately, that's going to be a learning curve for me. And so, if I have to do all that with Clayton, I might as well see if the cost will be within the realm of possibility with a Taylor Homes. And I apologize for the confusion. And so that's why I came today and said, it's no point me talking to Clayton, getting this plan and everything. Because Taylor. Unlike Clayton gave me the bank pack with no problems at all. Say, here, this is what you need. I talked to Taylor on Friday, and they said, oh, sure, we'll do all that. Just give us $500. And I was like, well, I don't even know if they're going to approve design or anything. And so I just pulled what I could off the internet and they gave it to David. And so, all I want today is just, if the design is okay and the position is okay, which again, we can't do that today because David has to do it. So I have to just defer that for October. And the biggest thing was I do the design without the mother-in-law suite, which will keep me, if the setbacks, they have to be 15, correct?
7.
I don't know.
7?
7.
Without the mother-in-law suite, it can be done because the front of the house rotated from that corner should be about 10 feet. And so it's rectangular without the mother-in-law suite.
You're not talking about this house, you're talking
No,
about
I'm
the
talking
next
about the
house.
other one. And again, I apologize.
All right, well, we shouldn't even talk about that new house. We haven't seen it, that's not part of the application. We need to talk about what you have given us.
Oh, yes.
But if you're not gonna use that, then,
I don't think he
Back to
knows
this
if he is or isn't.
Wait until October.
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, Beth.
Just one thing I think we need to mention, if you're thinking about adding a garage, I think we added to our ordinance a prohibition against front-facing.
No, again,
On the
I'm sorry.
front.
Is it all right if I show you the design?
I would err not, simply because I haven't done the zoning review on it. and
Okay, I
don't
just
want-
wanted you to be aware that
Yeah.
there was a
To get to-
prohibition
And again,
against
it's
front-facing
it's
garages
rotated,
on
so
the front
the,
elevation.
Is this a
The garage-
detached garage or is this detached or attached?
this will be a attached garage,
Okay.
which will be on the
So it'd be
right
on the back.
corner.
So it won't be on the front, that's the
No,
only
it won't
point
be
I
on the
wanted to
front.
make. Cause that means a longer driveway for you, but,
Well, hopefully, I'm going to keep the existing driveway because of costs. When they itemize things, it's just it's insane that you would think that the base price would include a lot of these things, and they're like, oh no, contraire, that you got to pay for this, you got to pay for hookups. Even pay for a construction driveway, which I have no idea what that means.
Well, it's a good idea to have a construction driveway, because if you let them use your driveway, it won't be a driveway when they're done.
It'll be construction driveway.
Because of the weight of the concrete trucks and all that. They're gonna have to go in no, a construction driveway is not a big deal. It's just a designated spot, and maybe they'll throw some gravel down.
But it is an expense, to
Yeah.
your point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't want them using your driveway if you plan on using that in the future.
All right.
Well, let's get back on track. What are we here to do today? Are we here to review and comment and perhaps approve this design? Or are we gonna defer? I mean, I heard a lot of
Sounds
talk
like
about
deferral.
deferral.
I think we should defer because we don't have zoning from David.
Yeah. And there was actually a motion on the table, motion second, isn't there, to defer?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry,
Is that
yeah.
on this?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I think you can
No, it was on the
hear the
other-
frustration
it was
that
on the other place.
we're kind of swinging in the dark. We don't know
From the
what
other
we're
place. We didn't-
thinking of. when that's
And I
approved, so.
apologize.
Tom, we didn't make a motion to defer on
well,
this. That
Becky,
was.
Oh, we did.
Becky
And I
did now.
second.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
We didn't vote.
No.
Yeah, there was no vote.
Okay.
There was a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there is a motion on the floor to defer, but because this application is of a certain length of time, we would need your permission to allow us to defer until October.
You have my permission.
Okay.
And my apologies. I'm so sorry.
Well,
This
sometimes the numbers
this-
come in high and those kind of things happen.
this is the design that we really want, but it just without the basement and that cost of basement, it's just and so what I'm hoping again, and I know I'm talking is that we're looking at other buildings for this design, but no one else makes. They all make them these modern traditional houses or contemporary houses, and the ones that are even close to it that Taylor have, they're about 1,100 square feet, 1,300 square feet. And one of the things I was going to talk to them was present this design. They told me they will not do anything but what their plans are. But I wanted to say, well, what do you have close to
Right.
it? Because one of the terms I
Same
learned
thing,
the other
yeah.
week is that some builders can stretch design, which I,
Just variations of their own design, they're not gonna take that design and recreate it for you.
Well, and that's what, cause they have one that's similar, except that it doesn't have a wraparound porch, and I would be okay as long as it was 1,700 square feet, opposed to the 11 or the 13 on it. And so that's why I wanted, because when I go to them, I'm going to take this design as well as the previous one and the one I just showed you. Say, hey, I need to give, and I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm
No, it's your home, you want it perfect.
Well, I just want to be past this point. I want to break ground. I want to focus on something else and just have to check. And it just seems like every builder I talk to, they're very friendly. They tell me, oh, this is it. I tell them what my budget is. Oh, we can do this. And then I'm 3 for 3. Like, hey, we're gonna talk about this. I know you said this, and I'm just sitting there like, I got to come to you guys, and at some point, y'all gonna start looking at me and say, oh, this guy again.
Again?
Yeah.
Well, one
But
suggestion.
as
Go ahead.
Bob said, things change. And the price of everything has gone up, and what was doable within a certain budget 2 years ago isn't doable within that budget.
Yes.
So make a decision of what you want to do, get it to David so he can review it, and then come back to us, and we'll be glad to give you our input.
All right.
And you might be able to find one person that will do all that extraneous stuff that they don't want to do. In fact, I have a name or two that I could give you at some point
All right.
of somebody that could do all that other stuff.
Are you talking about general contractor or?
He's a contractor. Yeah, I've used him before. He's a contractor.
You mind if I give you one of my cards?
Sure.
Or no, I won't be able to give you one of my cards because there's nothing in it.
Well, David has the contact number.
David
You
has
can
the
reach
contact.
Bob through
It's
David.
on the applications.
All right. Well, I think we've got an understanding of where we're going.
All right.
Ball's in your court again, but to Randy's point, do stay in touch with David early and often so that he has a chance to review it and can share your plans with us, so we have a chance to review it in time for the October meeting. So giving it to him on a thumb drive at the time of the hearing doesn't work for us.
All right.
All right, is that his thumb drive, by the way?
Yeah, it is. I'm getting ready to give it to him.
All right. Anything
You
else?
want me to email this to you?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
All right, no problem at all.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second to defer. Before I make the vote, anything else that you want to add for us?
Not right now.
Okay.
Because I may have, again, one of the things is storage. And I actually I had a meeting last Friday with E&J Containers. What is the builder's concern about putting a container in the back?
A container like a
Shipping container.
I would say that's not permitted under our zoning code.
We don't, well,
If it's not,
we don't have anything that explicitly forbids portable storage containers like shipping containers or pods. If it is over a certain square footage, it may trigger as an accessory structure,
All right.
meaning it would need approval. I would advise against it, frankly. It is actually something that we're going to be addressing through our code over the next couple of months.
All right.
And I don't want you to find yourself in a situation where, you know, you're getting ready to do something that we're about to say
All
you
right.
can't do.
Yeah.
I don't want to organize the expense and then find out that we passed something that means that you can't do it.
All right.
So
That's fair enough.
I would advise against it and go with something that could be taken maybe off site. I don't know what your options are, but for a more permanent storage solution, yeah, I don't think it would be a viable
All right.
long-term option.
Yeah.
And you know you are going to need a survey,
Yes.
no matter what.
Sure.
So that's something
car
you might
off.
want to line up at some time
Yeah, I
fairly
would,
soon
I would
because
recommend calling tomorrow morning
Yeah,
and
it
trying
takes
to
a
get a
long time.
surveyor.
it can take a long time.
Surveys are backed up, so.
All right.
Duffy is a pretty good surveyor that's that does
He's
a lot of
reasonable.
stuff locally. He is reasonable.
Yeah.
Well, while he's making a note, let's take a vote on our motion to defer. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, we are deferred till next month. And if you run into a buzzsaw on that time, just work with David. We'll push it back. Duffy's the name, and he's got the contact information
Yeah,
for the surveyor.
I'll send you an email
All right.
tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you all, and I apologize.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it
Bob.
happens. So. All right, see you next month.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, Will, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the commission? Mike? No, not this time.
Well, that was very helpful. I think this gentleman needs your help.
He does, but
It's a nice looking house.
yeah.
What he presented.
Anyway, members of the commission, any further discussion? Any other items, or shall I turn to the mayor?
No, make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah, make